Yiplu damav lenedava, and the money goes to nedava. Shein chatas tzibur mesa. Why do you let the other one? Why do you let it get it mum and then you use it? That's because it's a community sacrifice. Ha the yachid. We were learning that it's the remaining one. It's the remaining one from the first pair. But if it would have been an individual, mesa would be put to death. Now va'amar Rav, and Rav explained. We learned yesterday that balichayim einim nidachim, that live animals are not pushed away, are not rejected. Kishu miskaper b'sheni shebezagrishin miskaper. When he does the kapara, he uses the second one of the first group. V'idach basra, but the other animal, in other words, his new pair. There's a second one there. Havlik mafresh leibud. It's as if it was separated to be lost. The time of the tzibur. What's the reason why we say this? That we don't put it to death because it's a community. Had the yachid, but if it would be an individual person, then mesa. It would be put to death. My lava filu rabbanan. This must be even according to the rabbanan. Now, what are we seeing over here? That the new one, that nothing was wrong with it. The new animal. Nevertheless, we would put it to death if it was an individual. Why are we not putting it to death? Because it's a community. But what are we using? We're using the old one that the pair died, so that the new one is there. If it would have been an individual, the new one would be put to death. So this must be my lava fila rabbanan. It must be that this opinion would go even according to the rabbanan. Now, according to the rabbanan, this is a kasha on Rab Abba, because Rab Abba holds that if you use the old one, the new one is not put to death, even if you don't ask. What says like Rabbi? No, it's Rabbi. All right. That resolves that. It's Rabbi's opinion. Rabbi holds it's always put to death. Okay. We're going to go back now to discuss a question that we brought up before, and we're going to give a different answer, an easier answer than we brought before. An interesting. Tanan was taught before. It was taught in our Mishnah. Hamafrish chatas ba'avda.
Here it says vehikru.
Yeah. Someone separates a chatas, and it gets lost. There's a whole study on using the Mishnah from different places and comparing them. Because in other words, we have the Mishnah that's printed in the Bavli. We have the Mishnah that's printed in the Mishnayos. We have the Mishnah that's printed in the Yerushalmi. They all should be the same, but they're not always the same. So there's like this whole study of comparing, like which one is more accurate. Just like Rashi. Rashi is published on the Gemara, but we have very early versions of Rashi that are published on the Rif, and we use it to compare what's the correct. Because sometimes, because of so many printings, the Rashi on the Gemara gets corrupted. A letter changes here and there, and so we look at the Rif to see what's an earlier version of the printed edition of, because that may have been used in earlier manuscripts. Okay, so here we have the Gemara quoting the Mishnah. So we have a different text of the Mishnah, just the way it's quoted in the Gemara. So here it says, someone separates a chatas, but he loses it. V'hikr b'acheres tachteh. And then he finds, and then he offers a new one because he lost his old one. He offers a new one. So tamas, when he finds his old one, it's put to death. So we learned in the Mishnah. Time of the kreva. What's the reason why it's put to death? Was only because he offered up the new one. Halay kriva. But let's say he didn't offer up the new one, and he just separated the new one, and he finds the old one. So tira, then you let it graze. And that's what we understood from the Rabbanan. Leishna miskaper ba'avuda, leishna miskaper b'sheina avuda. We're not making any difference here. Which one is he taking? Which one is he going to use? 1 second, there's a whole big difference here according to Rabbi. Really, there's a difference according to Rav Huna as well. But if he takes the old one, then the new one is not put to death. If he takes the new one, the old one is put to death. What are you making it so clear cut? It's not so clear cut. There's a lot of differences here. There's a lot of variables. Leishna mashach. It doesn't matter if he took this one. Leishna leimashach. If he does it on his own, or if he goes to ask. So you have to detarvayu. It's a question on both Rav Huna and Rav Abba. You're making it so clear that the rabbis would always say, Tira, that you just let it graze and then you give it to a donation. That's not so clear. There's a lot of differences, and you just wrote the Mishnah like as if it's one law, one size fits all. Okay. So the Gemara says, Milsa de Psika Leiktani, Milsa le Psika Leiktani. We were trying to keep the Mishnah simple. So we said the law, that's the simple law. Yes, there's a lot of differences, yeah? But we were doing it simple. So therefore, look, the whole question was only from a diuk. We said that you hikre v'acheres tachta, if you offered it before you found it. So Thomas, that everyone agrees to. I know there's a diuk, but if I didn't find it, I wasn't getting into the diuk, because the diuk has too many. What's inferred, what the inference has so many variables, we didn't want to get into that. So we just said, okay. Tanan, another Mishnah, Mafresh Mesh Lechatas. Someone separates money for a chatas ve'avdu, and he loses the money. This is case number 3, right? And then he finds, and then he separates other money. And then he finds the original money. He brings from both monies together a chatas, and the rest of the money goes to nedava. Taima the miskaper me'ela me'ela. What's the reason why the rest of the money could go to nedava? Is because you mixed both monies together and you took from both. You didn't reject either one here. But if you rejected one of them from Echad, then the other one gets rejected and it gets thrown into the sea. Doesn't matter which money you took. It's Kashan Rababa. According to Rababa, it does make a difference if you took the new money or the old money. Doesn't matter if you did this on your own or if you went to ask in Bezdin what to do. It's a Kashan Ravuna. Ravuna says that's a big difference. It's Yufta de Tavai. It's a kasha on both of them. No, it's not a kasha. You're making an inference, and then you're having a question. So that was clearly what we're trying to avoid. We were trying just to say the clear case, because anything that you're going to infer from this has its own variables that we did not want to get into. Amar Rabami says, this is a different story. Here you're not separating one animal and losing it and getting another animal, or separating money and losing it and separating more money. Before you started, you separate two. Very careful. So this is the way you go shopping. You know, I don't know what my wife wants. I'll have to buy both of them. Right? So you separate two. So miskaper be'echad mihem. So you use one of them. V'sheni yiplu l'nedava. And the other one is a donation. It was never rejected. It was you separated both originally, but you knew one of them was going to not be used. You just in case you had an extra. Aliba deman. According to whom are we saying this? Eily aliba de Rabbi. If it's according to Rabbi, pshita yiplu l'nedava. That's obvious that it goes to donation. Why? Adkan like Rabbi ala mafresh libud. When does Rabbi say that you put the animal to death? That's because the money that you throw it to the sea. That's because you were replacing an animal that was lost. And the animal that was lost, you're not going to be able to bring anymore. Even if you find the new one, even if you find the old one after the new one was separated, it's already gone. You already can't use it. But that's only if you're separating it for a lost one. But Rabbi agrees that if it's for just to be more responsible, for to guarantee that you're going to have the money, so he agrees that it's not thrown into the sea. That must be according to the Rabbanan. According to the Rabbanan, according to the Rabbanan, that's even more obvious that it goes to Nedava. Kal v'chaymer. It's a hash to mafresh li b'dam Rabbanan lavki b'dami. The rabbis say even if you separate it to replace a lost animal, you don't lose it. It's not considered lost. The new animal, achrayas mi bai. If you separate it just to guarantee, to be more responsible, for sure, it's not lost. Vela aliba de Rab Shimon. We throw in a new opinion here to say why this is a chiddush. It's a chiddush according to Rab Shimon. The itztrich lei, it's aliba de Rab Shimon itztrich lei. It's necessary. Mal de temelas le Rab Shimon nedava. Could have thought that Rab Shimon doesn't have a concept of nedava. Kamash malan dislei nedava. Kamash malan He does have such a concept. Where did you come up with this? Reb Shimon doesn't have Nedava. The lesson Nedava Reb Shimon. We have a brisa that says clearly there's a bunch of different pushkas, shayfras, that we used as pushkas in the Bais Hamikdash, and one of them was Nedava, and Reb Shimon doesn't argue on that. There has to be Nedava. It goes like this: Shloisha aser shayfras hayu b'mikdash. There were these containers in the Mikdash, 13. V'yakasav aleim tiklin chadatin. One of them said, tiklin. Translate tiklin, knowing that a tuf and a shin is interchangeable. Shkalim. Chadatin means new. New shkalim means this year's shkalim. V'atikin, in last year's shkalim, if someone missed or something. Kinen, if someone has to bring these birds, Zav or Zava, Yoledes or Mitzayra, so they would put the money in this thing, and they would assume that it would get brought. I guess it would get emptied every day. And they would bring the birds.
There's a description somewhere. My mind's going blank on that when you're paying something to someone. They say, "I've given you all the money exactly." They use the word killing, the amount is exactly as, and it's an Israeli, it's a Hebrew.
With like Taklin Chadatin?
Yeah.
This is a famous commentary on Shkalim. Taklin Chadatin. V'goyzle Eily, birds of an Eily, eitzim or wood, Levina, for the frankincense, we still have probably over here. V'zav and V'zav lekapires, the gold to replace for an atonement, or maybe lekapires means for klei sharis. Oh, there we go. How do they translate kapyrus? Mamish to put on the kapyrus itself? Gold for the service vessels. This doesn't say specifically for the kapyrus. Shisha l'nedava. The sixth is for, or maybe six or the sixth. Six are used for nedava. V'tani Allah, and it was the Bais is taught on that. Shisha l'nedava. What are they? La'olah haba min ha'maisrus. Those are for oilas that come from extra money. She'ein oil kainim, that the maisrus, those extra animals, the skin doesn't go to the kayanim. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Amalei Reb Menachem, Amalei Reb Shimon. Imkin batel midrasha shal yayada kayan. You're going to say the skin doesn't go to the kayanim, then you're rejecting what yayada kayan darshan. The Tanya is a medrash darsh yada bakayan asham hu. Yayada Kayan Darshan, it says Asham. It is an Asham. Who Kulai Lahavi called Davar Abami Meiser. It's coming to tell us that anything that comes from a leftover, an extra animal, Chatais v'Ashamais, and it says that the sin offering and the guilt offering, Likach B'damav Oilais, Habasal L'Shem V'Aris L'Kayanim. What's left over from a chatas and a asham, what you do is the money you buy a ayla, with the meat it goes to it's burnt, and the skin goes to kayanim. Al me'eslei nedava l'Reb Shimon. We see you do have nedava. So the Gemara says it's no. Even according to Reb Shimon, it still has to tell me that I have nedava. Kasal kadait chamin kieslein nedava Reb Shimon b'chad sidra. That's only when I have one. If I designated one amount, but the price went down, so now I have extra. But maybe if you separate two separate ones, so one of them is totally extra, and you use one of them, maybe the other one is not considered nedava. Kamashman that there is nedava there as well, even if you separate an extra one.
He's referring just to the tzibori now?
He's using to the groups of money. Okay, we'll leave it here.
Right? Source?